Every night, under the soft glow of hospital streetlights, a small figure curls up by the cold concrete steps. Rain or shine, heat or frost, this little soul, just a puppy, returns to the same spot without fail. Passers-by glance at him with a mix of pity and confusion. Why would such a young, innocent creature choose to sleep in such a place? Why doesn't he leave? He isn't tied, he isn't trapped, yet he remains. At first, hospital staff thought he was just a stray. They tried to feed him, shoo him away, even called animal services, but he always came back. His loyalty was unwavering, his eyes searching the faces of every person who entered or exited, as if hoping to find someone. It wasn't until one doctor took a moment to truly look at the little pup's eyes that the heartbreaking truth began to unravel. And when the doctor finally understood why the puppy waited night after night, he couldn't hold back his tears. It all started one evening about 2 months ago. Nurse Carla was finishing her shift at St. Mary's General Hospital when she first noticed the puppy curled up near the front entrance. He was small, with golden brown fur matted slightly from the damp air. His eyes, large and filled with a sorrow far beyond his young age, tracked every movement of the hospital entrance. She approached him gently, holding out a piece of her sandwich. To her surprise, he took it delicately, wagged his tail just once, and then returned to his spot by the door. It wasn't fear that made him stay away. It was something else, a reason, a mission. Over the next few days, the puppy became a familiar sight. Doctors, nurses, patients, and visitors alike began to recognize him. They named him Hope. Every night, like clockwork, Hope would return. Sometimes he wandered during the day, but by sunset he was always there, sitting, waiting, watching. He never barked, never whined, just waited. The hospital staff grew increasingly concerned. They took turns feeding Hope, brought him a small blanket, and even constructed a little cardboard shelter for him to sleep under, but Hope never tried to follow anyone home. Whenever animal control came to take him to a shelter, he somehow escaped or found his way back. There was a silent desperation in his behavior, something that tugged at the hearts of even the most stoic doctors. One by one, they began to ask the same question. Who was he waiting for? Dr. Luis Moreno, a respected cardiologist, became particularly affected by the puppy's persistence. He noticed Hope would perk up when ambulances arrived or when gurneys rolled in through the ER entrance. His ears would twitch, his eyes scanning, tail thumping in anticipation, only to slump in disappointment. It was as if Hope was looking for someone he had lost, someone who was supposed to come out those doors but never did. Haunted by the puppy's loyalty, Dr. Moreno decided to find out more. He began asking around, checking surveillance footage, and speaking with hospital security. Eventually, he discovered something chilling. About 2 months earlier, on a rainy night, an elderly man had been brought into the ER. He had collapsed on the sidewalk a few blocks away and had been found by a passerby. Footage showed a small puppy following the stretcher, trying to get inside the ambulance, then waiting by the ER door for hours after the man was admitted. The man, Mr. Arthur Brennan, had lived alone, no family, no children, just his dog. Records showed that Mr. Brennan had passed away from a heart attack within hours of arriving because there was no one to claim his belongings. His body had been turned over to the state and the dog had been left behind. Hope had been waiting ever since. When Dr. Moreno confirmed the identity of the man and the connection with the dog, something inside him shattered. He remembered treating Mr. Brennan that night, a quiet older man with no identification at first. He had done everything medically possible, but the man's heart had simply given out. Dr. Moreno returned to the puppy that night, kneeling beside him with tears in his eyes. "You're still waiting for him, aren't you?" he whispered. Hope leaned into him as if recognizing someone who understood his pain. Dr. Moreno hugged him, breaking down in the open in front of the hospital where he'd saved so many, but couldn't save the one man who meant the world to this tiny creature. Word of the story spread quickly through the hospital. Staff cried, patients cried, strangers who heard the tale cried. The next morning, something changed. Dr. Moreno didn't go home after his shift. Instead, he went to the store, bought a collar, a leash, a food bowl, and a bed. Then he returned to Hope. "You've waited long enough," he said gently. "Let me take you home." Hope hesitated for a moment, looking at the hospital doors one last time. Then he looked at Dr. Moreno, really looked at him, and walked forward. It wasn't instant healing. Hope would still wander to the hospital steps from time to time, sitting there quietly as if saying hello to an old friend. But he always returned to his new home where love waited for him. Hope's story touched thousands. News outlets picked it up. Animal rescue organizations praised his loyalty. People from all over the world sent letters, donations, and toys, but more importantly, Hope reminded everyone of something we often forget. Love, once given, never truly fades. Even in the face of death, loyalty remains. Dr. Moreno found himself changed too. He had saved countless lives, but taking in Hope gave him a deeper understanding of the connections we form, not just as doctors, but as human beings. Hope became more than a hospital legend. He became a symbol of devotion, a symbol of grief, and most of all, a symbol of healing. He now spends his days running through Dr. Moreno's backyard, napping on the porch, and visiting the hospital once a week, where he gets spoiled by the staff and offers comfort to patients in need. His presence is calming, a living reminder of how love can transcend even the greatest loss. Sometimes, late at night, he still sits at the steps for a few quiet minutes, looking up at the stars, and maybe, just maybe, he feels his old friend watching over him, proud of the journey he's taken, because Hope didn't just wait. He taught everyone around him what it means to truly love, and in doing so, he found a new family, a new purpose, and a new beginning.